Welcome back to the program. Of course, Daybreak continues this particular morning as we get into a special coverage of that announcement I told you about. The Ministry of Education this particular morning is set to make public the results of the 2023 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exams, and pictures you can see on your screens right now are coming to us live from the NEC, the Kenya National Examination Council's Mtihani House in South Sea, right here in Nairobi. This is the venue where the Education CS Ezekiel Machogu is going to be addressing the nation in just a few minutes or moments from now, to be able to officially release the 2023 KCPE examinations results. Of course, we are having our team on the ground there. We will be getting more updates on what is happening and the expectations. Stakeholders from the education sector, senior officials from the Ministry of Education are gathered at NEC headquarters right here in Nairobi, expecting that big announcement by the CS. A big deal for the country, considering the fact that this is actually the final Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exam results. We are in the season of phasing out the 844 system and getting into the competency-based curriculum that has been rolled out in the country for quite some time. We've had learners go through the different grades, and the standard 8 pupils of primary who sat for the KCPE examinations this year are the last cohort in the primary education system to be able to sit through such an exam. And it is now going to transition into an assessment. And of course, we know that there were candidates who also sat for their KCPE assessment, I would say that, this particular year, and they are going also to be receiving their results as the KCPE candidates also receive their results today. And of course, we know that in this year, over 1.4 million candidates took the KCPE examinations. We had others, 1.2 million, who sat for their KCPE examinations in grade 6. And this was a total of about 2.6 million candidates in the lower cadre of the education sector. It happened at around the same time that the education sector also saw quite a number of candidates sit for their Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations, which are still ongoing. And of course, results for that is also expected later in this year. But the Education CS Ezekiel Machogu has confirmed that the marking of this examination was already complete. When he spoke about the update on the results just recently, a few days ago, he said that these results ought to be made public before the end of this week. And yesterday, the ministry confirmed that they are going to be releasing those results today. Of course, it usually starts by a briefing at State House, where the head of state, President William Ruto, is going to be briefed on what these results look like. And of course, after that meeting between the Education CS and the head of state, he's going to be heading straight to the headquarters of NEC to be able to just also enable the country to know what that particular results look like for the 1.4 million candidates who sat for their KCPE examinations. This coming a bit early in what, according to the CS, is a move to give parents enough time to prepare well, because what will follow is that the Education Ministry is going to begin the process of conducting the Form 1 placement. And this should happen before Christmas. And learners who are expected to join Form 1, at least in the 3rd week of January, will be able to know the various schools where they're going to be undertaking their secondary school examinations. So for this result to come, just before Christmas, weeks before Christmas, will give parents enough time to be able to know where the learners will go and how to prepare for that particular transition the last cohort, I remind you, of the KCPE examination candidates are expecting to receive their results today. Once again, just to run you through a confirmation by the Ministry of Education that this is going to be happening. We already have stakeholders at the education NEC headquarters at Mitihani House in Nairobi who are waiting for the Education Cabinet Secretary CS Machogu to make public these results. That the Ministry of Education said that in the manner in which they conducted this examination process compared to the previous years, they learned lessons and they tried to implement quite a number of measures to be able to address the challenges that they have experienced in the previous examination processes. There was an escalated level of security. We also had, containers and exam centers increased, and we also had exams delivered twice a day. Some of the measures that the Ministry of Education put in place to be able to ensure that they did this process in a better way and also, managed the cases of exam malpractices, albeit with a few hitches here and there, which we will be discussing in the course of this coverage. But right now, I want to go to our very own Seth Olale, who was bright and early pitching camp at the headquarters, NEC headquarters in Nairobi, following up this big announcement that the country is expecting. A very good morning, Seth. Good to see you. Kindly just bring us up to speed with what you have gathered so far, the mood there and the expectations from those who are attending this very important event. What do you have for us, Seth?
Well, good morning, Safin. You're joining us, like you said, from the NEC headquarters here in South Sea. We are just waiting any moment from now for the Cabinet Secretary to make his way on this particular podium that has been set up. And all guests have arrived. They are seated, just waiting for that big moment. What we know is that the CS is already at this particular premise, this being a very memorable event, like you said, Safin, because we are bidding the very last, cohort of the KCPE examiners goodbye through this particular historic announcement of the results, touching and deciding the fate of the 1.4 million candidates who sat for this particular paper. So, like you said, the mood, actually, people are excited. People are just waiting to, for that particular moment when the CS will appear, of course, joined by top NEC officials, and also we're expecting the principal secretary in the basic education, PS, Bello Kipsang, to accompany the CS on this particular podium. The program was actually announced that it will start at 8 a.m. There seems to be a delay. It is now 9 a.m. And what the organizers here are telling us is that any moment from now, we expect the Cabinet Secretary, that is CS Machogu, to make his way here and announce those particular results. What we expect from the CS speech also is just to tell us how this particular exam was moderated, what some of the challenges the examiners faced, and of course we know that this was a very closely monitored exercise. It was a joint effort by the ministries of ICT, Education and Interior, which had to provide the necessary logistics to make this particular KCPE of the 2023 class a success. There were challenges in regards to logistics. I know, and everyone knows that, several counties, and especially those ones in North Kenya, Marsabit, Turkana, Isiolo, and the likes of Mandera County, at some point there was, heavy downpour, and the organizers there had to use alternative means of transport just to ensure that each and every candidate of the 1.4 million got to sit for these particular papers. We also know that there were questions in regards to integrity, but this particular examination has been given a very high score rate by the CS Education, because they said that they only managed to identify 6 cases of attempted cheating, not even cheating, but he said attempted cheating, and that this is commendable for all those who undertook this particular preparation and in fact the execution itself by the relevant authorities, because he stated that this is, this shows improvement of, integrity when it comes to national examinations as compared to the previous exams. Like I told you, Safin, we are expecting the CS to make his way here at the podium any moment from now. What we know is that the CS arrived at this particular premise a few minutes after 8 a.m. What is ongoing right now, he's being briefed, and he's also briefing some of his juniors on what he was able to share with the president. Remember that as per the tradition, before these particular exams are actually announced on national television or during such an event, the president, the head of state, must be briefed. And so that particular session, we are told by reliable sources, took place yesterday evening, 6 p.m. at State House, Nairobi, giving the green light for this particular event to happen today. And in fact, it is after that particular briefing yesterday when now the notification was sent to media houses that this particular announcement will be made today. It is also very historic, Safin, because according to stakeholders in the education ministry, they say that, in terms of time lapses from the last exam paper that was sat on 1st November to today, being the 23rd, that this is actually one of the shortest duration ever marked in terms of when the last paper is being sat and now when the exam is being announced. It is actually the shortest duration. So it is historic, Safin, 38 years of the KCPE exam, and those who actually sat for the very first, the inaugural paper in 1985. It is very significant for them, and we will be also just finding some of their experiences in regards to how effective the KCPE exam was, and how what impact it had on them even going forward. What we also know, Safin, is that even as I wind up this particular link, because we know that any moment from now, I will be told that the CS is coming, that according to last year's results, we know the highest scorers were 431 out of 500 marks. We don't know yet the outcome of these particular exams this year, but for the 1.4 candidates who sat for this particular paper, we can only wish them well, and we only hope that it will be an improvement, if not a sustainability of the previous exams and papers. And so right now, I just have to hand you back to you, Safin Achieng, who's an expert in this field, to take it forward, because any moment from now, like I said, we have the CS, the PS Basic Education, Bello Kipsang, coming here, and of course the CEO for NEC just coming here to announce this particular result. Safin, do you know of any candidate, could be your niece, your nephew, even your brother, your siblings who sat for this exam? Because I have a niece who, of course, I wish her well, and any of the 1.4 million candidates, I wish them well. Safin,
all right, thank you so much. A lot indeed. I do have a lot of people that I celebrate, and thank you. And we also wish well your niece, Seth Olale. They are reporting to us from the NEC headquarters right here in Nairobi. We really appreciate you for that very comprehensive, update for what is expected to happen at that particular venue. As to whether I'm an expert, that is